Welcome on in, guys, to another video. My name is Ty. Thanks for clicking on this one. And today we're going to be talking about my personal top 10 favorite American hard rock and rock bands. I did a top 10 metal bands. You can check that video out on the channel right now if you are so inclined. Happy 4th of July to those who celebrate. Sorry to all the Brits out there. We got you that round. But anyways, let's get into this. Let's talk about some of my favorite American rock bands and hard rock bands. Again, this is personal. These are my favorites. If I'm doing an objective list, this list would look a lot different because I would have to rightfully put bands on there that I really don't care about. I'm not a big Kiss guy, but if I was doing an objective list of the top 10 American rock bands, Kiss would definitely be in that top 10 list. So these are personal to me. You can comment down below what are some of your bands as well. Let me know. Sound off. Let's get into it. Probably the newest band, easily I think the newest band on here, The Killers. I think quintessential Americana, quintessential American rock band and American success story. Obviously blew up with their first album, Hot Fuss. Massive singles on that album. I respect the hell out of this band because they decided to change up the formula on almost every album when they didn't have to, because their first record was so damn big they could have just coasted on that for the rest of their career. I pulled Battleborn just because this is probably my favorite album they ever did. I absolutely love the combination of Americana with rock, with folk, with their kind of early new wave influences. I think this kind of bridges the gap of a lot of their different styles. It's a great album. If you've never tried it, I would suggest start here. You're probably sick of hearing Mr. Brightside, so check this out. It's definitely an amazing album and one I will cherish, but I don't think they really have a bad album in the catalog. And when I think American rock, I think of this band, Blue Oyster Cult. I pulled The Revolution by Night just because I love their 80s output. And I think this album is absolutely stellar. Shooting Shark? I love that song. What else? Shadow of California. It's a really cool song. Dragon Lady's fun. And you think of American rock and hard rock, like BOC has to come to mind. Obviously, the big songs, Don't Fear the Reaper, Burning for You, they kind of overshadow the band, but there is so much more to the band than those songs, and so much more deeply ingrained into these catalogs that are absolutely quintessential American rock. And their early stuff is kind of weird and interesting. And then you get Agents of Fortune and Don't Fear the Reaper on there, and that obviously blew up. And then you get into the 80s and you get kind of like new wave-ish influence, sort of. Maybe it's kind of a lack of a better term. They're just such a hard band to pigeonhole, and I think a lot of people just think of Don't Fear the Reaper and that's it, and that's sad to me. I think they are a quintessential American band and hugely important to the American rock music story. And I think for as big as they are, I think they are criminally underrated. Another band that is kind of in the BOC realm, super massive band, but ZZ Top. I think a lot of people think of Eliminator. You think of those MTV videos, which I love. I'm wearing a frickin' Recycler shirt. I love Eliminator, Afterburner, Recycler. I think those 80s cheesy records with the fucking awful drum machine is amazing. I love those albums. But Tres Hombres, like the early blues-based shit, they were one of the best bands doing that. And quintessential Americana. When you think American music, American rock music, you think ZZ Top. If not, you should. And they're just a great band with a varied history, a long output, and just a just a great story as well. I think that's what I did too on my metal top 10 is like I looked for bands with great kind of American American success stories. And I think ZZ Top is definitely one of those bands, and one of the few bands from the 70s that had a very huge run in the 70s to transition greatly into the 80s. They got MTV right away. The videos were obviously huge. That Legs video, is iconic, and you can't listen to that song without picturing that video. So I think one of the few bands that was able to really grasp that transition and release some good records in that time too, at least to me. Kansas, one of the, again, quintessential American success story bands. Their legendary 70s run of prog is, in my mind, maybe untouched. Easily the best American prog band for my money. Not even close. A lot of people just look at kind of similar to BOC. They're going to look at Dust in the Wind, Carry On My Wayward Son, and think that's all there is to them. But there's so much more to Kansas. There's so much more to this band. A lot of amazing deep cuts. Some of the best prog rock ever written is ingrained into these LPs, deep into them. Dig in, man. Dig in. If you have any passing interest into prog and you've never done a deep dive into Kansas, like that 70s run is absolutely legendary. I even like some of the early 80s records. They didn't do the transition as well as I think like BOC or ZZ Top did. But they tried, and I think there's some decent songs in there too. But that 70s run to me is unmatched. And they're such an interesting band coming from where they were and kind of just stuck in the middle of nowhere, not really influenced by any of their peers because they really didn't have a scene to be influenced by. So they took that 70s era of prog that was coming over from the UK and filtered that through an American lens and threw in some hard rock every now and then. And man, just an absolutely stellar band. And again, an truly American band and a truly American success story there. Let's keep it going. You can't talk about American hard rock without talking about Van Halen. One of the best legendary runs of all time for my money. An absolutely stellar run of albums. And to me, for my money, all the way up until 5150. I love 5150 a lot. OU812 is one of the ones where I think they truly missed. I don't like that album. I don't hate it, but I like when musicians I like release albums that I don't necessarily like, I can still find things to like about them because I still love Alex's playing, I still love Eddie's playing, I still love Michael's playing, and I love Sammy. So even in this era too, like Diver Down, Women and Children First is a great record, but Diver Down I think is kind of a hit or miss album. And even on albums like that, which I still think are great, I can find threads to pull at to enjoy them. But long story short, yeah, Van Halen, the reputation, obviously, you can't really say much more about Van Halen than hasn't already been said. But you can't talk about American rock music. And one of the bands I never get tired of either. Like, I've heard these fucking songs a million times. Like, how many times I've heard Running with the Devil in my life? I would love to have that tally. But I don't care, man. I love this album. I love this band, and to me, that run, obviously at the beginning, is legendary. Probably the best American songwriter of all time, Brian Wilson. Beach Boys just pulled Pet Sounds because, it's an obvious pick, but Pet Sounds. I love a lot of the surf rock stuff too. There's a lot of genius in those albums buried in there. If you think you're just listening to bubblegum pop, you're mistaken. You're kind of naive. There's great production techniques. There's great songwriting buried deep within those the surf rock albums too. But Pet Sounds, obviously it's amazing. I was never a Beatles guy. I never grew up in a Beatles household. So I really was never really exposed to the Beatles until high school. And then Across the Universe came out, and I just got sick of people wearing Beatles shirts and talking about the Beatles. So I glommed, being a contrarian, You know, as much contrarian as that is to be like, I like the Beach Boys. It's really not that much of a contrarian pick. But I just wanted to be a little bit different. I'm like, you know, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go with Beach Boys, and Pet Sounds has always been me. I always hold it up against any of those classic Beatles albums. I think it's absolutely stellar. And again, I think Brian is one of the best American songwriters of all time. Super hard to talk about the history of American rock music without talking about the Beach Boys. Another band that I kind of, gonna sound weird, but I link to the Beach Boys, especially that surfer era of Beach Boys. The songs are so simple and good, they can appeal to anybody across generations, and no matter the age. My daughter loves the Ramones and loves Beach Boys as much as a 3.5-year-old can love a band. But that tells me right there's something in that DNA that says this shit is good. And I think the songs are so simple, well written, catchy, amazing songs that it grabs even the youngest to oldest people. And the Ramones, for me, fall into that. See, I picked Road to Ruin just because I love the freaking album cover. I love this album too. But again, another band I don't think really has a stinker. To me, they fall in kind of a Motorhead or AC/DC realm. If you like those bands, you kind of just like the whole catalog, because there's, for better or for worse, there's not a ton of variation throughout the catalog. You know, Ramones dabbled in other stuff, and they dabbled with, really trying to be commercial with the Phil Spector stuff. But yeah, I think for better or for worse, like most of the Ramones shit, you're going to like if you like the Ramones. Like the punk nature of the music is, if you want to call them punk, I think they're just a good rock band. I think punk, I think more like Misfits. I think more like Sex Pistols, like the UK stuff. Obviously the Ramones were hugely influential on all of this. Don't get me wrong. Definitely a punk band, but I'm just arguing semantics here with myself just to entertain myself. But regardless, no matter what you call them, I think they're a quintessential American rock band. And just like Typo Negative, I think that East Coast New York humor just adds a ton. And I think that's quintessential American. I don't think you really find that anywhere else in the world. And I think they nailed that so well. The branding, the imagery, everything about the band, just super fucking cool, man. Super fucking cool. And it's a great American band. American success story too. Because the Ramones really never made any fucking money ever. But everybody knows the fucking Ramones. So I had to throw some 90s shit in there. Alice in Chains, just pulled Facelift because I love this album. It's tough to pick a favorite Alice in Chains album. I grew up on the band. It's ingrained into my DNA. And I think I could have picked any of those Seattle bands, really. I think they are hugely influential to the history of American rock music and my story as well. But Alice in Chains has always been the band that's resonated with me. Easily my favorite band out of the big four of grunge. But yeah, again, another American success story too, man. Deep, dark, depressing times. Lane dying, the band doing nothing for a decade, basically. And coming back and just having a really, really good run of albums with William Duvall. I absolutely adore William. I adore that era of the band because that's kind of my era of the band. I was too young for any of this. I was exposed to it at a young age through my brother, but just being able to live it is really, really cool. So I will always have a fond place in my heart for that era as well. But an absolutely stellar band with a stellar run of albums, I think, until this day. Again, a band, for my money, never released a bad album. Next up, a band that I think is great Americana. The Cars, one of the best debut albums of all time. I think they only really have one stinker of an album. That's Door to Door. I even love Move Like This, the comeback album. But yeah, man, quintessential Americana. MTV, obviously, Heartbreak City comes out. Massive videos and singles. But they were doing it long before that with this album and the albums that followed it. And a band that appealed to the new wave kids, they appealed to the punk kids, they appealed to the rock kids, a band that could appeal to a lot of different people, which again is hard to do. It's hard to run that broad range spectrum and grab people from all walks of life and interests. And I think the Cars did it expertly well. This is, for my money, one of the best debut rock albums ever. Easily top 10 debut rock albums. And for my money, again, I think they only really had one clunker of an album, and that's Door to Door. But the Cars, I can't think about Americana or American rock music without thinking about the Cars. Last one, Journey, Escape. If you watch any of my videos, you'll know Journey's a very important band to me. You can't think about American music, American rock music without thinking about Journey. Obviously, Don't Stop Believin' is such a massive, massive song, even bigger than the band at this point. If that's the only thing you know about Journey, you're doing yourself a disservice. There's a ton of good shit in the catalog, even the pre-Perry stuff. I don't go back to it often. It's just not my thing. But Neil Sean, Greg Raleigh, Ross Valerie, like that era of the band, those guys were so fucking talented. Like, the records are really good. I think Steve came in though and just... Steve is such a force and such a talent, and his voice is so instantly recognizable that it's kind of hard to deny it. Like, the band was going to go in a certain direction if they wanted to survive. And for my money, that was the smart choice. Obviously, Escape is a massive fucking album. Frontiers as well. I love Infinity. I love Evolution. I love Departure. I love Race on Radio. I love that whole run of Perry albums. And again, another American success story, a band that was born out of Santana, and a band that probably shouldn't have existed after those first 2 or 3 albums without Steve. And then Steve comes in, and they become one of the biggest bands in the world. And for better or for worse, they still are to this day, man. Like I said, some of the singles are way bigger than the band. But if that's all you ever listen to, I highly suggest. There's great playing. There's great songwriting. Steve and Jonathan Cain was a great songwriting duo. And then you add in Neil Sean. Neil Sean is such an underrated guitar player because he could add so many good things to even ballads. Like, he found a way to stand out, even in some of like the most syrupy, poppy ballads, which he really didn't even like it anyway, and never liked playing those songs. He found ways to entertain himself and put solos in there that are absolutely legendary and will stand the test of time. So Journey, easily a top 10 American rock band for me. Let's do some honorables here. So some bands I didn't mention. Aerosmith, easily. I'm not a huge Aerosmith guy. I appreciate the records, Toys in the Attic, Rocks. I even love Permanent Vacation quite a bit. Pump, that really kind of that Desmond Child poppy stuff. But yeah, just couldn't nudge any of these bands out that I put in my top 10. Kiss. I'm not a big Kiss guy. I appreciate the band. I find having debates with the Kiss fans really fun. I think some of them are kind of delusional sometimes, but that's neither here nor there. But I appreciate the band. Obviously, hugely influential into a ton of shit that I listen to. I would be super naive to say that they weren't. Breaking Benjamin. I think Breaking Benjamin is one of the best American rock radio bands going today for the last 25 years, 20 years easily. Red Hot Chili Peppers. I love Red Hot Chili Peppers, man. I grew up on that shit. My brother is a huge fan, so I was exposed to that. There's so much good playing in those albums. And a lot of people just think about the hits and think about, oh, they just talk about California every song. It's like, okay, man, you're missing out on some great playing. Like Flea and John Frusciante are probably better than your favorite players, Chad Smith as well. So yeah, there's a lot of good shit in that catalog. Very varied and long storied career. Boston probably should have been in my top 10, honestly. That first Boston record is just amazing. The production on that album, the guitar sound on that album basically influenced everybody immediately afterwards. Everybody was chasing that sound. And it's a legendary album. I never tire of that one. CCR, quintessential Americana. I love CCR. Heart, a great American success story. Had a great run in the 70s and then had all the big syrupy, poppy ballads and kind of glam hair metal-y shit in the 80s, which I absolutely adore too. What a great band. I love Ann and Nancy, both. Ted Nugent, hard to talk about the history of American rock without Ted. Just absolutely some legendary songs. Soundgarden, Nirvana, Pearl Jam. Again, it's hard to talk about American rock without talking about that Seattle era and those bands in particular. I did mention Alice in Chains before. Guns N' Roses. Not a huge fan, but you're stupid and naive if you're not going to mention them talking about American rock. So they definitely get an honorable here. Rap, Motley Crue, Skid Row. Like if you're going to talk about some of the glammy stuff from the 80s, glam rock, hair metal stuff, that easily, all those bands to me deserve a place in the list. And then Grand Funk. I'm not a big Grand Funk guy, but I understand their importance to American, and they were just such a massive fucking band. Just sold so many tickets and records. Like, it's stupid how big Grand Funk is, and like you don't even realize it. How big that band truly was. But anyways, guys, I appreciate you watching. Happy 4th of July out there for those who celebrate. You can leave a comment down below. What are some bands that I missed? Did you like any of these bands? Let's get the conversation going. Again, happy 4th. Like the video if you made it this far. Subscribe for more stuff, and I'll see you next time. Peace.